2019, I have no idea. I think it was probably based on me wanting to check out a new area in BC and probably the timing and like availability of what races were around. I basically, after I did a couple of marathons, I had a friend that brought me into the River Valley in Edmonton, and I was like, screw road running.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. Spring is in the air.
Finally?
Yep.
And we just finished watching Cocodona 250 live.
That's right. Live streaming all week long.
Live and uncensored.
I didn't get to see much, though, because every time I turned it on, it was... nothing really was happening.
Well.
But I have to say, I do appreciate that more races are doing the live stream. Because it makes it more engaging. And obviously, this whole thing started in Europe. And it's finally coming over here.
Yes, and the fact that they're live streaming 100 milers or plus, meaning you can kind of check in when you wake up, you can check in at dinner, you can check in the next day. They're still going.
That's right. It gives you some inspiration, too, to get out there and do your runs. And there's been some live streaming in Canada.
Yes.
But I think we need to do more of it. What do you think?
Of course. I would love to have live stream on every event, every 100 miler, but I don't know what the cost is. I can't imagine what the cost is. And plus, everyone out there has to have a camera that can live stream when you're running behind a runner and all that.
Yeah.
I know that Air Vipe was constantly asking for volunteers to come run with a camera.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, I can't imagine. But anyway, we're going to put ourselves out there, right?
Yeah.
For hosting.
I think for 2024,
yeah.
if you're a race director out there in the world and you're planning to do live stream and you need hosts,
look at us.
Check us out. Because
yeah, right.
We're not going to bring the Strava stats. If you want Strava stats, that'll be the other host.
Yeah.
We're going to bring the comedy.
We're going to bring comedy, and we're going to keep people awake at midnight. We'll take the midnight shift.
Take the midnight shift.
Don't care.
And we'll get volunteers on camera. We'll get the runners mid-pack, backpack. Because we want to hear from them.
That's right. Mostly we want to hear from what's happening at the back of the pack.
They're the ones that have the good stories.
Yeah.
The people in the middle and the back.
Yes.
So we'll bring you the stories.
Let us know if you want to have some hosts, and we'll be there.
We'll fly on our own dime.
Our dime. Sure.
You do not have to pay for us.
We'll just show up and tell us where to sit, and we'll stand in front of something and just talk away.
Yeah. And we'll be on course, too. You can go out on course.
Yeah, I'll even run beside someone and talk to them as they're running.
There you go. We can't do the whole technology thing. So you guys figure that part out.
And we'll show up.
We'll show up. So 2024.
What's the hashtag?
Hashtag gotta run is gonna live stream for ya.
No, that's too long. Hashtag gotta run live stream.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. We need to do this.
Of course.
So, race directors,
we're available.
Call us up.
All right.
Call us up. That just tells you how old our technology is.
Call us up.
DM us. There, that sounds better, right?
Yeah.
DM. All right, there we go.
All right, who is on the podcast today?
Well, speaking of canyons.
Yeah, speaking of canyons, because there was no live stream, we don't know what happened.
But we do know that Priscilla Forgie from Edmonton came second.
Wow. Go Canada.
In the 100K. And she's relatively new to the ultra running scene. She ran her first ultra in 2019. And has since smashed course records in the near-death marathon, which is part of the Great Canadian Death Race in Grand Cache, and the Squamish 50-50.
Wow, I like the near-death marathon race. Near-death.
Near-death.
Yeah, you made it. Almost.
She also won Ultra-Trail Harricana 2022 and the Death Race in 2021.
Yep.
And of course, she just accepted her golden ticket to Western States with her second place in Canyons. And we actually have chatted about her before in episode 65, Jenny Quilty's episode. So if you want to hear when we first talked about Priscilla, check out that episode.
Yeah, that's when we asked Jenny about how her record was broken at the Squamish 50-50. And she said, hey, no problem. I'll give it to Priscilla.
That's right.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Without further ado, here is Priscilla Forgie coming up.
Enjoy.
How are you guys?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. All right. Well, welcome to the podcast, Priscilla, and congratulations on your recent podium at Canyons, which resulted in, obviously, a golden ticket at Western States, which is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Now, you're relatively new to the ultra running scene.
Yeah.
So when you started, I think it was back in 2019, around there. Did you know about Western States? Had you heard about it at that point?
And no, I'm sure I probably just heard about Western States maybe a year ago. I feel like I am so out of the loop with everything, and I don't know a ton about a lot of other runners. I don't know about a ton of other races. So I'm really just getting into it. And it's also exciting for me because everything is so new. And once I heard about Western States and I heard about, for me, it's the history, but also just the field there is it's just absolutely wild, the elite runners that are there and who you'd be competing against. And I got a bit of a glimpse of it at Canyons, and it made me so excited. I thought I would be more scared, but when I was out there, I was like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. This is the coolest thing ever. So so I'm really, really excited about it. I did not anticipate I would be going to Western States this year. So I feel like in a week, a lot of my life has changed, plans for the year. So it's exciting though.
Well, we're going to talk about Canyons, obviously, but first we'd like to go back to your first ultra, which was called Walk in the Park 50K. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did it feel like a walk in the park?
It did not. No. It's actually so funny. I thought, I was so new to running. I had done a couple marathons before, and when I did this first 50K, it actually ended up having an IT band issue, and not a major injury or anything, but I didn't know anything about my body and what was going on. I thought I broke my knee. I was like, what is happening? Why does my knee hurt so much? I was walking sideways down the hill because I couldn't go straight down. But it was such a good learning experience, because then I was maybe a couple of days after that, I was like, oh, I'm fine. It's actually and maybe I just need to do more strengthening. So, but that was a really cool race just to kind of explore that distance and get to know a new area. It was my first time in Kamloops in BC. So, and that kind of obviously sparked my interest to continue going.
What made you choose that race of all available?
I don't even 2019 me, I have no idea. I think it was probably based on me wanting to check out a new area in BC, and probably the timing and availability of what races were around. I basically, after I did a couple of marathons, I had a friend that brought me into the River Valley in Edmonton, and I was like, screw road running. Not again. I was like, this is where it's at. And so I was like, oh, and I guess road runners we do 50Ks. It's that's the equivalent to a marathon. And so I think it was probably around that time that everything was transpiring. And then I was like, okay, I need to try to find a 50K, and that was what came up.
Now, you went to the Canadian Death Race, which is a big jump in distance, and no spoiler, but you won. So what did you notice that was different going from 50K to that distance in terms of racing? Because it is quite a big jump. What was your strategy going in that day?
Oh man, I was such a like I still feel like I'm like such a noob. And I kind of just showed up and was like I think I think I was looking at other people's distance in their training before the race, which no one should ever do. I
Nope.
think it was like a few days before the race when there's literally nothing I could do. And it made me so nervous as I was just like, I am totally not ready for this. It was also the uh we had some forest fires
Mm.
uh, around that area, so it was really smoky. I have a history, like long history since I was a kid of asthma. So like towing the line was definitely like not the smartest thing, but I was just so excited to do that. And I kind of like we all made a plan that the day before the race, we were gonna wake up in the morning and look at the sky, and if it was bad, then we would make a decision then. And everyone woke up, saw the orange, like bright orange pink sun, and
Oh.
nobody said a word. It was just like, okay, let's just do this. But I had like a really good crew, and I think that was like the biggest part of it was just seeing. It's like with the 50Ks, like you can just do that on your own, and you don't
Hmm.
really get to a point where your hormones start being weird
Mm.
and changing. And so for me, like I realized that around like 80K, I start to get like weirdly different, like a bit like more emotional for some
Oh,
reason.
wow.
Yeah. And so I was just really happy to see people at each station and like they're just like kind of being like taken care of and it was just so motivating. So I didn't really have any plans going into that race, but I absolutely loved the like it was just like mountain like the Rockies. Like I love running in those. And so
Hmm.
it was it's just a good time. I knew a lot of people there and that definitely helped with the encouragement. So
Mm.
yeah.
I
I don't
remember
know
when
if
I
I answered the
I remember when I did the
question.
death race back in 2005. I had to carry the coin from the beginning, and I was so
Oh,
afraid to lose it.
oh my God.
But you didn't have to pick it up till on top of Hamel. Is that right?
Yes. Oh, what did I have? Yeah. So no, so we did have it from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And then we got something else at the top of Hamel, like a flag or something that we had to bring to
Ah,
someone, if I remember
okay.
correctly. Yeah. But I remember like that coin, I like ended up feeling, I think, I don't know, I was just so nervous about that coin because I lose things all
Yes.
the time. I was like, if this is going to happen to anyone, it's going to be me. But I feel like they just add an element of an anxiety for everybody with
Yeah.
Did you lead that from the start, or did you chase someone down?
that. That's a good question. No, no, actually. So Jenny Quilty, that's actually where I met Jenny.
Okay.
Uh, she was leading up until I believe like three, and then she. This I'm pretty sure. Um, and then we ended up doing a little bit of back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
and so she's a lot better at ascents than me, and I'm a
Mm.
lot like better. I think that's like just from what we both agreed on is that I can descent a lot better, at least at that point in our racing. And I believe like once I was descending, she was like, "No, I'm not gonna."
Mm.
Like it's just it can be like just with all the rocks and like
Right.
you're kind of like it's a toss up if you're gonna like stay upright. I can understand that not everybody would want to kind of book it. So
The next race that we piqued our interest was your Squamish 50-50.
yes. Oh, I was such a like a soft spot for Squamish. I absolutely love that race.
What was the strategy there? Do you race both days, or do you race the 50-miler, or do you
I
hold back the 50-mile? How do you plan
That's
that?
a good question. So I had my so I knew that Courtney Walter had the 80K, the 50 miler record. And I was like, oh my God, how cool would it be if I could get Courtney's record? And so I was like, I'm just gonna go as hard as I can and try to get it. And like I was signed up for the 50-50 and I very much was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna see like if the 50 miler goes well, I'll decide if I want to do the 50K the next day. And once I'd finished, I was like, I was so happy. Like I just loved the trails. I loved the environment. And I was just like, there's not like, I didn't get the course record for that. But then I was like, I have so much, I basically could do some hiking the next day and still be able to get the course record for the 50/50.
Right.
And so it was just a no-brainer to go back out and go hard again. So
And whose record did
Jenny's.
you beat Jenny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen a lot of each other the last couple of years. Yeah. And she's she's been so supportive. Like she was there when I did take a record. She was helping with the commentary and the live stream. And she's just like all smiles and so happy that I pushed. And I think we're all like, I think any women in the ultra running community are just trying to push each other and really like just see what else we have in us, because I think we've just scratched the surface and what we're capable of.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Especially Canadian women, because I know for a fact that you were not on anyone's top of the list for Canyon.
No, I know.
So how freaking cool.
I know. It's super cool. I remember listening to the top 10 or the top 5 predictions for canyons, and like they were listing off the training that people were doing. I was just like, oh my god, they're not anywhere near these individuals. So it was like I'm like, it's probably one of my proudest moments, just towing the line and just focusing on my own race. And
yes,
it's really cool.
Well, that's what happened to Jasmine Lowder last year. Nobody knew who she was. So let's go Canada.
Love it.
Love it too.
The whole world thinks Canadians are just dark horses and don't really pay much attention. However, we show them.
I love it. Yes. And it's just like, I think we're just going to keep on coming out of the woodwork, and they're going to be like, okay, fine, we'll pay attention to you guys.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about the canyons.
Yeah.
Was that your A race of the year?
Yeah, I would say it definitely was. It was my A race, but I also like kind of knew, I guess kind of my A race would have been Run Rabbit, which I was signed up for September, because I didn't feel like I was going to be prepared for canyons. I started my training a bit later this year, and I didn't rush through it. I just knew I would just be where I was at because of the delay. And so I wanted to do well, but I didn't actually, I don't know if you guys read or listened to the interview after, like I had said, I was just going to hope to scrape 10th place to get into UTMB. So I was like, what is this golden ticket? Like, what is going on? Yeah.
It must have been exciting though, being there with so many women that could easily have placed, right? And how do you even develop a strategy? Were you just going to say, however I feel, I'm going to run on feel, and whatever happens, happens?
Yeah, so my focus was, of course, like listen to myself. Don't look at what anybody else is doing around you. But I knew very early on that I was struggling on the hills, and I just really excel on the descents, and so I just went hard. I knew my body was going to really hurt after, but I was like, I'm feeling good. Nothing feels like it's hurting. Like I'm not in pain. It's just gonna like my body doesn't like that I'm pushing so hard on the downs and the flats. So that was kind of what I just focused on. When I had seen Ida. I don't know if you guys know, she got a bit lost. Yeah.
Oh,
I heard about that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, not lost. So there's I can't remember the aid station name, but there was a loop and she accidentally went back on the loop. And that was actually an area I was in as well and got a little bit confused. And the volunteers were trying to figure out where it was supposed to go. So I totally understand how that could have happened. But basically lost about 10 minutes. So she
Okay.
was 10 minutes behind me at one point around maybe the 60K mark or so, 65.
Mm.
And a male runner that I caught up to had been running with her earlier, and he had said that she got lost because he had saw that she had went a different way and then told the volunteers. And so I'd known she was behind me at one point. And then when she had joined back up with me, um, she was like, she's like, where are we placing? What, are we first and second, or are we like fifth? And I'm like, I'm first and second. And she was like, okay, awesome. And she was like, kind of like, just like, oh, like, kudos to her. Like, she'd gotten lost and then had like pulled back up into first
Yeah.
place. And she just like went up the hill and was like, God. Okay, that's just like not good. Like, I'm not gonna, but I didn't feel like bad about it or anything. I was just like, wow, like she's so strong up that hill. I'm like not right now. And so I'm just gonna I'm not gonna try to hold on to her because I'll just blow up. And so instead I just kind of looked down, focus on what I was doing, and went from there. So it was yeah, it was I didn't really know where anybody else was throughout the day. I didn't even realize I was in second place until around maybe 50-ish K. And
wow.
that was just like someone had mentioned it and I thought they were lying. Like, I'm not lying. I thought they had made a mistake. And so I just kind of kept my head down most of the day.
Well, you held on to her pretty good because there was only, what, 10 minutes between
Yeah.
you? Yeah. So clearly you did hold on, but it must be hard to figure that out when you're going up and down and up and down.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So you didn't feel like you had anyone on your tail during that time?
Sorry, one person mentioned that Aurora was like, I think 9 minutes behind me at some point, but like it wasn't like I had more in the reserves to give. So it wasn't like when someone would tell me that, I was just kind of like, okay, like that's just is what it is. Like, I'm doing the best I can. So so yeah, that was what I was aware of. And I was really, really like surprised when I heard that I was seventh overall, because I think that's just so cool. And then I was sixth, like what? Like, oh my God, so cool. Like having some females in that top 10. It was just like, it made me just feel really happy.
All right. So what are you going to do for Western? Now you know the canyons of Western States. How are you going to prepare for the heat at Western States?
Man. Okay. So I'll do lots of dry sauna training, like lots of like dry sauna sessions. I do actually quite well in the heat. I think comparable to other people that I know and I've heard of. But it's going to be probably 10 degrees hotter. So, and a lot less covered. So I'm aware of that. I think for me, it's just keeping cool, like lots of ice, like taking advantage of like all the support from the volunteers to help me get like ice wherever I can. And just staying wet and then of course, doing that like heat training before.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
someone who's done it
so much.
For someone who's done it last year, I was there last year running this crazy race. That bandana with ice is what saved me.
Okay, I had one at Javelina and I absolutely loved it. It has unicorns all over it. We'll bring that one back.
That was the ticket for me.
Are you going down a little bit early? Are you hoping to?
So I'll just be there a week earlier, and I decided today, I actually just booked my flights, that I'll do the camp.
Oh, good. Very good.
Yeah.
I recommend that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people recommended it, and I was like kind of back and forth just with all the travel, but I think it's a smart decision and it will be a good experience.
Yeah.
Have you had lots of people lining up to pace you?
I'm actually not one for pacers, which it sounds, which is kind of ridiculous because I haven't ran 100 miles yet. But I don't think I will. I'll have my partner as a pacer for backup, but I likely will end up running it mostly alone.
Yeah.
just for personal preference.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why force the issue if you know that you perform better without?
Exactly. Yeah. But who knows? Anything can happen. So I might be out there with like 3 basers.
And you're going to be running with Canadian Jenny Quilty, which is exciting.
Yes. So there's a few people I know that will be out there, and like obviously like I'm like a fangirl moment. Courtney is out there, and I'm like, I would love to see her. I think that's going to be such a cool experience. So
yes,
I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, you know what happened last year with our Canadian women, but no pressure.
Yeah. I will do my best.
Well, this has been awesome.
This has been great. Thank you so much for joining us today. And
Thank
we
you
wish
so much for having me.
Well, you did awesome for your first.
For your first podcast, yeah.
And we're very grateful that you chose ours as your first, because I know this will not be your last.
Yep. The world's going to know who you are after this podcast.
Yeah. After Western States.
No pressure.
It's funny. Well, thank you so much, Priscilla.
Thanks for joining.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was such a good experience. Like, you guys made me feel very comfortable for my first time.
Yeah,
Ease me into it.
I'm glad. All right. Well, thank you again, and all the best.
All the best at CCC, at Western States, and anything in the future.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll see you guys maybe at UTMB.
Yeah, I think we should have like a little Canadian rendezvous.
Get a chocolate croissant before the.
That sounds amazing. We'll need it.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Take care.
Right. And that was Priscilla Forgie.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah. She accomplished a lot in such a short time.
She sure did. Taking the Canadian ultra scene by storm, and now on to international.
Yeah, on to the States. And then Europe.
It's a big year for her.
Yeah,
my goodness.
Year. And she started off as road running and said, no, this is bullshit.
After 2 marathons?
Said, no, not for me.
Isn't she lucky, though, that she still pursued it, considering she could have just stopped?
Yeah, you're right. Some people think, well, I've done a couple of marathons or whatever and said, that's it for me. But someone got her on the trails.
That's right. Smart.
And sparked something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are going to be watching her at Western. That's going to be her first. Hopefully.
100-miler.
Not attempt. She did it Javelina, but.
Attempt, yes, but hopefully a completion.
But she's going to learn from Javelina. She's have a different mindset about going to Western States and get the 100-miler on her belt.
And enjoy it.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Come on, like, no pressure here.
Yeah, no pressure.
No, seriously. It's such a big venue that you can really play with your mind, and I hope it's like people that go to Boston and race. I get it. You want to do a good time and but just enjoy the day, man.
Yeah, I know.
All the hard work going into it.
Hopefully her and Jenny can run the ski hill up together and get to their pacers, and then they can say, okay, now we race.
Right. Survive the heat and see what you got left.
Yeah.
All right. Well, either way, we'll be watching.
All right. Until next time.